Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm very excited. In fact, I've been looking for Tuesday afternoon every single week. This is the best part of well, not exactly my job, but this is the best part of my hobby is live streaming for you every Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you are new to my channel, my name is Holly Lee. I am a certified professional career coach for those who are really struggling in landing an interview with companies such as Amazon, Google, Meta, basically the maintained employer of the world. Second, you have land interviewed. You probably came from a lot of the fancy companies or have a phenomenal CV or resume, LinkedIn profile, but you can't seem to just pass the interview process. Or a lot of you guys are going through a career funkiness transition where you're not even sure how to get going. This is why I'm live streaming every single week. I do wanted to apologize that I'm about a month and a half behind. Actually, it's not just me and my virtual team. I have an international team that helps me look through all of the social media. I secretly want to tell you guys I'm actually an introvert. I do. I'm sorry. I'm a YouTuber. Yes, indeed I am, everyone. But I don't like the whole social media thing. I can't get myself on Twitter. What was the other one? TikTok. I can't even. I almost forgot the name of TikTok. Instagram. My social media coach pressure me to go in, and I did for a hot like 2 months. I quit. So YouTube and LinkedIn is really my go-to platform. If you haven't yet, please make sure that we are connected on LinkedIn. When you all reach out to me, the first thing I do is look in your LinkedIn profile. And oftentimes, when I have a brief second, I will just respond to you and see what is missing from your profile based on the type of questions that you're asking me. Okay? So, if we are new together for the first time, please let me know where you are tuning in from. Where are you from? If you have questions for me, excellent. That's why I'm here for you guys. Be very specific. I am a very specific girl, okay? What are you interviewing for? Where are you interviewing? As in, well, you guys are going to hear a lot of AWS or Amazon in here, but for what group? If you know the group, is a lot better, okay? For example, there's a huge difference between AWS and Amazon, even though AWS is part of Amazon, but they're almost complete different companies. The culture and the environment, this is just speaking from someone who actually worked for Amazon for 7 years, excuse me, is very different. I don't know why, but it's very, very different. Amazon alone has so many different, I call them babies. They like to buy a lot of startup. They like to flip the startup into their services and product initiatives, right? Such as the R&D, which is now Kindle, which is now entire research and development for all of Amazon's hardware, right? So that's what I mean. Be very specific because I don't want to provide you with an answer that is so vague. Nobody wants anything vague in here, right? Because that's not the kind of coach that I am, okay? I tend to be very transparent. I want to apologize up front if I'm hurting anyone's feeling, but you guys are here, hang out with me, and you want the honest truth, nothing but the truth. Yes? Yes? If you said yes, then give me a chat on the bottom. Just say yes, okay? I say this because there are oftentimes, even today, if you all like, especially the pay YouTube community member, what that means is that I will review your stories, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, so on and so forth, right here during the live stream as a priority. And even so, sometimes I find myself holding back and not being more transparent with you. And then I quickly realize that, wait a minute, I'm actually wasting your time if I'm trying to tell you things that will make you feel, oh, I don't want to say just to motivate you, but I don't want to be that person that only tells you things that are good and not tell you how you need to improve. Okay? So I know this because I've had many coaches in my life, 8 to be exact. I have a coach for every single reason. And the one common theme is all of my coaches says, Holly, I love your work. I love your YouTube channel, but maybe you should considering hiring a voice coach. And I'm like, what on earth is that? What does that even mean, right? And I'm going to tell you this. I am somebody that have so much backbone. At Amazon, it's called, what is that, leadership principle? Disagree and commit. Having backbone, disagree and commit. Meaning you disagree with whatever the topic is that person is telling you, but you're kind of agreeing to it just to prove them wrong. I mean, I twisted the LP a little bit, okay? I want to tell you that very importantly because this is the dark ages of job seeker right now. Bear with me for a second. I promise you'll like this. Meaning that I know that a lot of the companies are calming down, but that doesn't mean you should change the way how you are and who you are, right? That's why I wanted to open up this live coaching and to tell you to be your true, authentic self. Okay, like you guys. I love all of you. You guys are the reason that I'm so motivated to be here every single Tuesday and every single day. There's not a day that I don't think about you guys and pumping content, especially in my VIP coaching. Oh, by the way, I forgot. I'm the founder and CEO of my coaching cohort, which is this right here. If you need help with interview prep, especially when you have failed interview before, that's what I do. That's what I teach and preach. And I think the biggest core of my teaching is teaching you how to write and then how to deliver your communication skill within 1 minute or less to give you a lot of pressure. A lot of my students, even if they're a little bit longer winded, 2-3 minutes, they're still going to get an offer, but I can't tell you that up front. If I do, you'll go 10 minutes and no one's going to give you an offer. Okay? What I mean by that is that in the entire interview process, there's going to be at least 3 to 4 questions per each interviewer. Yes? Yes. You still with me? But if you give your answer short, quick, to the point, you're allowing the interviewer to go back with probing questions. Generally, there's at least 3 to 6 probing questions per each question. You guys do the math. Are you with me? Please let me know if you're still with me. If you need coffee, show me some coffee emoji, okay? Let me know you're still with me here. I mentioned actually right here this article, this way, this article that I partnered with Forbes magazine to write this and publish a few weeks ago. I am very adamant about this because if you think about this way, if you're able to provide an answer a minute long, remember guys, there's also pause, right? There's also you. I hope you guys do this. Pause for a second and think about how your answer is. You got 10 seconds to think, or you can ask the interviewer for what? Probing question before you answer. So that right there, you're already killing like 30 seconds, another minute there. Okay? When I say 1 minute long answer, I mean that's when you start answering the question, not including all those probing questions and not all of that stuff. So all in general, each one of those questions is about 10 minutes long or less. Okay? But I'm saying here is that 10 minutes should be included in all the probing questions in you saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Interviewer, do you mind if I write that question down so I can get my thoughts together? Wink, wink. That's when you start outlining what you want to talk about. Are you with me? Let me know if what I just say makes sense and I wanted to answer some Q&A for you guys. Are you excited to be here or what? And by the way, thank you so much for all of those who reached out to me. Where's my button? Can you guys hear that? Wait, hang on. Anyway, I give up. I have a button that says yay with the clapping thing, but it's not working. 1,200 of you guys reach out to me in the last few weeks. Out of those 1,200, at least 600, I'm talking about 50% of you, talk about your job offer announcement. Out of that 50%, at least at the bare minimum, 75% of you are at Amazon. So what does that tell me, guys? That tells me that Amazon is still hiring like crazy, okay? You all saw the news in the New York Times article from last week. The consumer, which is one of the biggest bread and butter outside of AWS and consumer electronic, what am I saying? Devices. There's 3 org within Amazon, right? So consumer seems like they are calming down. I don't want to use the word hiring freeze. It freaks everyone out. It freaks me out. I'm in denial. I don't want to use that word. And because I've actually been in consumer for 2.5 years, I built B2B for Amazon. If you haven't noticed, B2B, it's over $10 billion in revenue from scratch, okay? So a lot of those who came to me, the job offers are all from AWS. There's when I say quite a few, I mean probably about 6 of them or so from Kindle. I have quite a few from Alexa as well. So there are definitely a lot of different organizations within the Amazon group of family who still is hiring, okay? So how do I know, Holly, how do I know where to put my effort in? you should put your effort and try to pass the interview first before you apply to job or try to land an interview, right? Let me know what I just said makes sense with you guys. I'm trying to provide inspiration and hope here in this live streaming, as well as answering all of your questions. But I think it's really important to share that the market data is telling me that there's still a lot of open position. Okay? You're just talking about one org that's slowing down out of the entire Amazon of 300 plus employees. Okay? Especially when you're in operation. I was actually in the middle of doing some research for you guys for November and what all the organizations is doing for Black Friday sale, which is literally coming in a few weeks. If you guys haven't noticed, there's an email with Amazon who mentioned that it's what do they call Prime? Was it Prime Day or something like that? Early sale, hint, hint, early sale, right? That means that there's a lot of stuff that's coming up. Even looking at switching gear to companies such as Meta, Facebook, for example, they just released the Quest Pro. I'm not a gamer. I was never a gamer, but I fell in love with the VR, the AR VR, when I worked for Oculus, my most recent employer, and that's telling me that a lot of different products are coming up. You know what I'm saying, guys? So if you're a product manager, if you are a tech professional, if your interest is in gadget, my gut is trying to tell me there's a lot of launches coming up, especially starting in November, okay? Because the Quest is not even going to be shipped until end of October. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out with different organizations and not just those two, okay? And if you haven't followed the news, I'm just focusing on FANG, big company here. I don't know if Microsoft is part of the FANG or Martin group of company. I'm going to go ahead and add them in there because guys, Microsoft is hot. It's underrated. I don't understand why no one talks about Microsoft. Are you guys with me? Are there anyone who's interested in working for Microsoft in here? By the way, Amazon is not sponsoring me. They have never sponsored me. Whatever you read on Team Blind or anything like that, no one sponsored me. I'm doing all of this because I'm truly passionate in technology. I mean, I also have a computer science degree. I was in tech way before I was in recruiting. I'm just saying, okay? So there's so many different employer there. Even if you hear hiring freeze or hiring pause, whatever you want to call it, just look. I challenge you all to go more in depth and look beyond that, okay? Because there has not, I repeat, there has not been a week gone by that one of my member doesn't receive a job offer at Microsoft. True story. Specifically, senior program manager. Yes, there's a lot of them at Microsoft that are still hiring. Google as well. So I got quite a few of senior level, not mid level. It seems like those employers are looking for level sixes or senior and above. And that makes sense, right? Because if you're looking at your headcount for the remainder of the year, you want to hire the right individual to set them up for 2023. Then once those seats or bodies are in place for whatever they're working on, then they can have the bandwidth to come in and coach more mid-level or junior folks. Okay? So there you have it, guys. I want to give you a brief overview of what the market data is telling us today. So if I were you, I would really pay attention, and this is what I do. Every morning after I kick my 5-year-old son to school, I read the news. I read the news for at least an hour. I want to know what's going on with the world, not just US, because things that are going on like in China, for example, or India and all of EMEA could affect the US as well. Especially when I'm following a lot of these FANG organizations, I want to know what is going on across the world with them so that I can coach you and my VIP coaching members. Okay? All right. Alrighty then, let's answer some Q&A. Hello, Rowan, Rick S, Gurinder, I think you have been here before. Jackson, hello, Jackson, how are you? Okay, Q&A time. By the way, if you're watching and you're really, really shy, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button or subscribe button. When you do, it's going to introduce new audience to me, okay? Sadly, when a lot of you guys, once you land a job, most of you kind of forgot about me. It helps to recycle and have a new batch coming in every few months or so, okay? Divya says, I hope you're doing well. I watch a lot of your video and love them. I have a question. Excellent. I have an answer for you, Divya. Oh, hang on, let me move this. I don't know why I cannot move it. Let's not move it, just in case. I have a question regarding having backbone disagree and commit. Funny that you asked. I just talked about this. Should it be a scenario where I disagree with a team or manager, but still went ahead and managed the decision, and the result was failure? That is an excellent, excellent questions on having backbone disagree and commit. Well, this is one of the tougher questions. I also see a lot of the bar racer ask this question. It's more of pushing you in the back or pushing in the corner and see how you do under pressure. Okay? The perfect world is having a scenario where you and your manager or even a customer don't see eye to eye. If I were you, I would have two different examples. One, your leader. Don't say manager or boss. This just seems so low level. Just say your leader. Okay? One is your leader. The other one is probably your customer that you don't see eye to eye. You disagree with what they're saying, but you're going along with it. But in the end, your decision was right. Okay? If you ask 1,000 people at Amazon or ex Amazon, they're probably going to give you a different answer. This is just my answer. I was a I can't. My tongue is twisting. I was a facilitator at Amazon. I actually taught interview training for tech and non-tech at Amazon for many, many years. My classes is at least 5 hours long, anywhere between 60 to 120 people in a room, like a physical training internationally. I've done that to 5 out of the 7 years at Amazon. Okay, so it's very intensive, and this is exactly what I train to all of the Amazonian. The funny thing is, the Amazonian who doesn't agree with me, and I'm scratching my hand like, but this is what I train you guys for so many years, and that's how the process has been for so many years. Anyway, I thought it's different because everyone have different ideas. Everybody's background and roles are very different. My role for the last 26 years have always been involved in interviewing. Okay, so even like live streaming, and if you look at my YouTube content, I don't script anything. I don't have a teleprompter behind me. I'm looking at the camera, which is why you see a lot of slurping and mistakes. And I allow myself to run free. Do not do that, by the way, when you're prepping for an interview. I like to be as authentic as possible. But when you are trying to convince an interviewer that you have a good story, you need to really make sure at the end of the day, you will have some kind of business impact. Okay? You still need to be very clear of the problem that you are solving, why you're disagreeing with your manager or your customer, and what exactly did you do to win them over. Now, very often when interview goes wrong is it is a failure where the interviewer will scratch their head thinking, wait, what just went on here? Is there a conclusion to this? That's why I call them the result, and I do live and preach the STAR method. The STAR method was born when I started working at Amazon. Amazon did not invent it. I don't know who invented it. It's a genius, whoever that invented it. But if you follow the format, you need to make sure be very, very clear what exactly did you do to influence them. Okay? All right. Um, Janine, thank you so much for becoming a member. Do let me know if you have any questions, okay? Surya says, I have an interview for L5. Thank you for being so specific. Okay, this is bothering me. I'm not sure why I can't move this down. I cannot put this down. It's really bothering me. Sorry, guys. This is like bothering me. Okay, there you go. While I was not able to clear the interview on Amazon Day, the HR said I'm more eligible for L4. It sounded to me like you have lacking some scope and scale for level 5. What position is this exactly? Okay. I don't know if there's a chance you will get a call for an L4. If there's an open head count, your interview feedback is already in the system. Okay. And whomever that is interested in your resume, they will read through all of the feedback and they will know the note is pointing you to level 5. But let's pause there for a second. I also have a lot of my customer, which is about almost 100% of my VIP coaching member, which have all failed or interviewed. They're level 6, downgrade to level 5, 5 to 4, and then they spend 3 months in my VIP coaching, and from a level 5 to level 4, they end up getting a job as a level 6. It has everything to do in how you position your achievement and how you deliver what you have done. Okay? Let me tell you this, my friend Surya. If they call you for a level 5, that means your credential and your years of experience, you must have had at the bare minimum 5+ years of experience, right? There's a high chance you can even get level 6s. But rather than hoping for them to re engage you for level 4, why don't you just think about what you could have done better with all of your 20 different stories? And then when you're ready, the universe will align everybody at Amazon to hit you up by messaging you and re-invite you for an interview for the right level. Okay? I do not advise, oh, sorry guys, I do not advise you to go back to interview for a lower level, because there's a reason when they call you for a higher up level, you would want to pass at that bar, because it's very hard to get promoted at Amazon, because I don't know, y'all know that, but Amazon is the biggest company in the world. So what they do is not just Amazon, but all the other top companies, you're getting evaluated by everybody at your level. Okay, when you've got 5, 6, 7 years experience, I'm totally making this up. I don't know anything about your background, so yeah. When you're doing so, and then they evaluate, let's just say you're level 4 with someone who's actually a level 4 with 2, 3 years experience. That's an L4, by the way. So if you look at that, you need to perform extremely out of the ordinary, because if they pull you in as an L4, they're expected for you to do well and expected you to be promoted within a year or so. Okay? Because your years of experience have to be growing up. Not this, but up. Let me know if that makes sense, Surya. Thank you so much, Abigail, for the coffee. My name is Holly Lee, and I am an absolute coffee addict. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Anchor, hello Anchor, love your video. I have a loop for AWS TAM last Tuesday. Ooh, I almost said Thursday. And still haven't heard back. Does this mean I'm not being considered anymore, or I still get in? That means you should be following up with your recruiter, which I don't understand why your recruiter is not getting back to you. Don't get me started with that. Anchor, why don't you go watch my recruiter ghosted video, and it will explain to you exactly this question. Okay? But at the bare minimum, you should be following up with them every 2 business days. Alrighty. You guys know how I feel about recruiters. JM says, I know you should be super busy, but I'm still waiting for you to reply to my LinkedIn messages. JM, if you missed the very beginning, the last week or so, I have reviewed about 1,200 different messages. All of them is asking me for a quick answer, for a quick tip. I mean, the majority of you guys are literally sending me your offer letter and breaking down what you're currently making. You see where I'm going? So reading through every single one of your messages takes me a very long time, and I just don't have that bandwidth to do so, okay? That is why when you guys show up to these live section here, it's free, guys. I usually don't leave until I answer all of your questions. There are days where my live stream lasts 3 hours long, okay? This is a lot faster for me. It's more intimate to me than on LinkedIn. And the worst part is, you guys don't even send me a LinkedIn connection. I don't even see your profile to give you some feedback, okay? That is why, to get a hold of me a lot faster, you got to show up to these. But if you have had failed interview before and you don't know why, and you really wanted to get a job with those famed companies, then you should consider looking into my VIP coaching right here. Because if you read all of the endorsement, let's be honest here, there's even video endorsement in there for you. It will sound exactly like you. That is why so many of you guys are asking me to jump on a call. I mean, a lot of international folks are giving me the WhatsApp. It's impossible. If you missed it, I said just last week alone, I went through over 1,200 messages. We're only talking about LinkedIn. We're not talking about YouTube. And I'm so far behind. I need to hire more people just to read the messages that you guys are giving me. You see where I'm going? And I love my community member, but it's just that when you are reaching out to me, and just like how you're networking and you're reaching out to potential hiring managers or whomever you have in mind for a job, just note that you're not the only person, and there's a lot. So when you reach out to people, you have to be as specific as possible. A lot of you guys are asking me, what can you do to help me? I mean, there are quite a few that actually ask if I do interview coaching. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. You see where I'm going? So I find myself responding to the same type of messages. And I wanted to use my time very carefully for those who truly do need me, because a lot of those questions that you're asking just show up to this live stream and give me your answer. I also have quite a few that sends me all of their star template. I cannot review that for you. It takes a very long time, and that's what the VIP coaching is for. Okay, that is why, JM. Ankur says last interviewer mentioned I will hear back within 3 days. As you can see, when the company gets bigger, organization is having trouble with scaling. But Amazon has never had a problem with scaling before. I think that since 2020, being the major company that is doing the most hiring, you can tell, right? Because their stock um, triple since 2020. Instead of going down, they're still going up. So up, so high that they're splitting into 20 plus 1. By the way, if you haven't seen my 20 and 1 split, go check out that video. I also talk about that with one of the senior leader as well. Okay? All right. Gorinder says, super excited to be watching your video. Have many questions for you today. Awesome. Well, I have many answers for you. Give them all to me. All right. Dave, you're from London. Thank you for making the time. It must be pretty late for you right now. Ooh, Abigail. By the way, Abigail, the sales engineer position at Google is relevant to the TAM role at Amazon, okay? Which is technical account manager. It's very similar. Best of luck to you. Let me know how it goes. The best tip I can give you for those who's interviewing at Google, the hardest part of a Google interview, I use the word hate very strongly. That's why I don't talk about the Google interview process at all. I'm trying not to, because they love using hypothetical question and they call it cognitive interview process. Cognitive meaning your ability for critical thinking. At the Amazon standard, it's called diving deep and thinking big. Just think of it that way, okay? But the difference between Amazon's interview process that I still, you can tell, love so much is when they're diving deep, they really want to learn about what you have done, what you have built, how you've done it, who you've influenced, and what was your deliverable to make sure that you know how to do the job. If you don't know how to do the job, they want to make sure that you're productive and you can figure it out. That's Amazon that I love. Google is a complete opposite. Google only are you smart? Are you going to ask probing questions? They don't want to hear right or wrong answer. They just want to hear how you're able to dive deep. So if I were you, Abigail, and everyone else who's interviewing at Google, I worked for Google for 2 years. I was a senior recruiter for them, and I did all of their software engineering and test hiring, software engineering hiring, also data center and hardware, fiber optic, mobile engineer. It's been a while that I was there at Google. It's been like, God, I don't know how long, 15 years ago or so? Nothing has changed, by the way, and that's another thing. Google does not change whatever works well with them. They are very consistent with it. But to get a job at Google, it's not about how good you are in sales. It's not about how good you are in engineering, understanding the fundamental of the technology. It is cognitive. It's cognitive. Can't talk. Cognitive, your critical thinking and diving deep. Well, they say diving deep, but not really. It's all about asking smart, probing question. Okay. The second thing is Googliness. Googliness means you're a culture fit. Okay. The Google environment was really fun. I mean, I gotta admit, of all the company I've ever worked for, Google was probably the most fun culture that I've ever been in. At that time, I was also a lot younger too. It's you're spoiled. You will be spoiled rotten, but they want to make sure that they have a certain type of personality to mold into that. And the third thing is, do you have functionality relevancy in your background? They do care about that. Basically, what I'm telling you, Google wants their cake and pie and eat it too. But that cognitive thing, I'm just not a fan of it. For example, why is the beef dead? I don't care why the beef is dead. Why are you asking me that question? I don't care. Just ask me things that are relevant to my background. And by the way, that question was asked from one of my level 6 senior program and product manager bar racer from Amazon, who was a client of mine. I was so shocked that they would ask somebody who's been at an Amazon environment for 10 years. And to me, that's kind of that's kind of disrespectful, asking someone a silly question like that. That is just me. Okay. So as you guys are preparing for your interview outside of Amazon, especially, I know that at some group at Microsoft are still doing something similar like a Google, but Google is the worst with those hypothetical questions that has nothing to do with the role. They just want to see if you're smart enough to figure it out or ask the right question. Okay? Martin Picasso says, you passed a technical interview with the hiring manager. Last friend proceeding to the loop for senior TPM. Tips on how to ensure my stories fit L6 to avoid over down leveling, emphasize scope and impact. Well, if you follow the STAR method and you have an impact, scope, and scale as a TPM, the most important thing is knowing your system's architecture and design. It does not matter how good you are. I like to think that even the technical question is also behavioral based, meaning what? It still needs to make sense, right? For example, if I don't know what you're interviewing for, what group, be specific, Picasso. Let's just assume that you're interviewing for, I don't know, Amazon Music. I'm just throwing it out there, making this up. Design Amazon Music. What do you see that needs improvement? Or I would simply just ask you, what is your favorite product or services at Amazon? I want you to design an architecture from scratch. Okay? If you're scratching your head right now, you're not ready for the TPM interview. There's a lot of practice stuff, and it's free, by the way. All you TPMs out there and STE and SDM, it's on YouTube. It's all free, okay? There's a lot of whiteboard coding from Amazonians that teaches you how to do that. I would follow that through. If you take a look at my hiring manager playlist on my YouTube channel, I've actually interviewed TPM, STE, and SDM at Amazon. And we also talk about the type of questions that's being asked. Okay? Again, it's called Hiring Manager Playlist. Alosa, fingers crossed for you for SDE2. By the way, the SDE2 position is one of the hardest positions to fill, my friend. It's hard. I think that the SDE3 bar is the hardest at Amazon among all because you need to be almost flawless, okay? An SDE3 should not be able to give you so many hints. You should be able to figure out the solution on your own. That's a level 6. Also, my friend, a level 6 or SDE3 at Amazon is relevant to a principal at Microsoft. The scope and scale of a level 6 at Amazon is actually a principal at the very least at Meta, Facebook, and at Google. The bar is very high, okay? You made it this far. That means they really love you. Make sure you brush up on your design. I literally talk about the universe is aligned. You see that? Make sure you practice your design, your coding, your data structure, and your algorithm. Okay? Divya, yeah, I would love to review your customer obsession story. But here's the thing, guys. I don't want you to just create story over the 16 LP because you'll be worn out and exhausted. I know I mentioned about making stories around the LP. That was before 2 additional LP came up. I've changed my mind, okay? I've changed my mind, everybody. Do not do that anymore. Versus doing that, I want you to answer the actual question. That's going to save you time, okay? I'm working on so much for you guys towards the end of the year. But right now, as you can see, at least you see this right here, I'm touching my wall. I'm in my Airbnb kitchen. I don't have the room or the capability to use my creative head at the moment, but I will be moving to our new place next month. I'm very excited about. I have a lot of content to pump for you guys. I just don't have the time and the space to record it. I wanted to give you all of the questions that I've shared as my paid VIP member to help you. It's just that there are so many of you that comes from different background. I want to make sure it's relevant, okay? That is why there's 16 LP, if you do 2 example, what is 16 times 2? Someone give me the number. It's 30, let's see, 20, 30, oh my God, I can't do math. Like 30, 34, 35, I don't know. There's a lot of them. I'm only asking you to give me 20 perfect stories. That's it. That is it, okay? But if you can answer 20 to like maybe 25 really, really good, legitimate examples that are relevant to the role, you're going to get hired. Let me know what I just said makes sense to you, okay? Lizette says, we appreciate your honesty. Awesome. All right, Divya. I'm just going to put this here and not your entire thing, okay? All right. Okay, this is a customer obsession example. Okay. A few years ago, working as a software engineer, by the way, first feedback is never say a few years ago. Just simply cut to the chase. Working as a software engineer for UK's leading grocery platform, excellent. After a few months in my role, I saw business teams struggling with setting up promotion, which brings huge sales. Who are your customers? Where are the sales coming from? Product owner pushed back to send it to the vendor of the platform to fix it. I insist I could fix it quickly. Okay? You could do that, or you could rephrase it to be more to the point. The problem I'm trying to solve is to fix the vendor platform as quickly as possible for what? Okay? Awesome that you mentioned the grocery platform, but it's stronger if you mention who are some of your key customers. Remember, if this story is customer obsession, who are the customers? Okay? Analyze promotion engine and its ability to extend in a way without breaking current functionality. Perfect. What did you find out when you analyzed that? How to provide enough testing strategies implemented in a few weeks. So, what exactly did you do? What exactly did you build as an engineer? Did you redesign the whole analysis? Did you implement something? You talk about implementing in a few weeks, but you don't talk about how, right? Give a demo to the business to get approved and pushing to production, increase sales to double to normal. First of all, I don't know what the normal is, and I don't know how much you're able to push the sell. What's the dollar amount we're talking about? You also talk about giving a demo. What is in the demo? Remember, guys, how? How did you deliver result, and what did you done? What have you done to create it? That was missing for me, okay? Blue Dragon, Star really works. You have to own it through, just like Holly says. Thanks, Holly, for the insight. Yo, you got an offer! Yes! Senior solution architect and going through the complex onboarding process. Beautiful! Congratulations to you. Blue Dragon, if you have not yet, I highly, highly recommend for you to watch my onboarding playlist. It's 3 video. It's really my first week, 30 days and 90 days to walk you through everything and help you speed things up, okay? Congratulations. Thank you for coming by. Gurinder says, I am an IT manager for Fortune 500 company and have been with them 14 years. I've interviewed with Amazon, Meta, and TPM for engineering manager roles, respectively. Well, what do you want to do, Gurinder? Because the TPM role and engineering role is very different. Do you want to be a people manager or do you want to be an individual contributor? The one common thing between those two is your system design and architecture for both of those companies. Shauna, hello, Shauna. Rick says, I'm negotiating pay for L6 UX design. UX researcher at Amazon Berlin. What a beautiful place. I wish I was in Berlin. Who else here wish they were in Berlin? All right. Oh, by the way, before I forget, smash that subscribe button. Tell all your friends about me and your network that this is free coaching. All righty. Back to you, Rick. My recruiter initiated a compensation exception request. That's good. That means they really love you. How exactly does this process work and who makes the decision? At the end of the day, your future hiring manager is the one who's going to convince his or her boss to approve the exception. Offer exception is actually a very common thing, okay? If everyone gives you a thumbs up and if you meet the level 6 bar as a solid hire, they will give you more money. More money, an exception meaning that you're hitting the max. Offer, that means they're looking at you to be promoted as a principal within a year or so, okay? Because if not, financially, it doesn't really make any sense. You can't grow anymore because you're getting the max of the pay or above the max. Okay, Rick? Let me know, Rick, if that makes sense. Gurinder says, I was recommended for an SDM role for data engineering or data engineering role. They're completely two different things. Remember, guys and gals, when your recruiter is recommending a whole bunch of different roles for you, you got to ask yourself, what exactly do you want to do, Gurinder? Because data engineering and software development manager are not the same thing, okay? Do you want to be more on the data side or software products and services side? Because they're not even in the same organization, okay? Don't let your recruiter put you where the recruiter is going to get the role filled. Make sure you guys know exactly what you're getting into Seek to understand more about the position before wasting your time interviewing and probably end up not getting the role because your passion or your experiences doesn't align with what they're looking for. I'm not saying it to scare you. I'm just providing more light to you. Okay? And Rick, if they're working through an exception compensation to you, you could always question. Okay, you guys don't have to accept the offer if they're working on it. But if you and the recruiter already come up with the total compensation and you both already agree upon it and it is approved, then you probably don't want to renegotiate if they give you the money that you're asking for or close to it, right? Rohan said Microsoft just laid off 1,000 people, I read. But, I mean, let's be honest. Microsoft has how many numbers of employees? So 1,000 employees is peanut to them. Okay? Jackson, do you guys have chat group to talk about interview experience? That's a good question. The only chat group I run a Discord group for my VIP coaching clients, which is right here. Because my goodness, I have so many people reach out to me. It's impossible for me to just run a chat group and respond to everyone. Because as you know, a lot of you guys don't just ask one questions. It comes back and back and back to the same folks. I won't be able to keep up. I'm just being very honest with you here. Even if I hired other coaches to help me, they never worked for Amazon before. They've never been in my role before. They've never taught interview coaching before for all of the skill set. And I'm not sure if they're able to answer questions at the level that I would. So for the longest time, actually for the last 3 years, I've been trying to scale and expand my team, but I haven't been able to be pleased by finding the right type of coaching support that I need. But to answer your question, in the VIP coaching, it is 24/7, ran by me and my community manager, which is also a former member. A couple Amazonian in there as well to keep an eye out in Q&A. And also, I'm the only coach that review all of your work and your stories with going to mock interview weekly, so on and so forth. Okay, I only do that with one platform, and that is my VIP coaching. Because if you do too much, just like interviewing with a bunch of employer, you got to ask yourself, who do you really want to work for? Because if you do too much, you're gonna suffer from quality somewhere, right? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Abigail says, interview with Google Sourcer today. Let me make this a little smaller. Hiring starting in January for Q4 is wrapping up. Besides keeping in touch, any tips to keep me on the radar? Google is a company that loves to stay in contact. They're more of a social company that I know. Google's not really like a social media, not really. Even though they have, what is that website? What is that social platform? Like, you don't really use it, but everyone is on Facebook. Internally, they love communication. That is just Google, right? I would stay in touch with every single person that you are engaged with. In the meantime, if Google is one of your target company, I would also try to network with other potential hiring manager, okay? Because you're already in their system. It's okay reaching out to them every few weeks. Don't wait for January to reach out to them. For example, Abigail, Thanksgiving is coming around the corner. Just wish them a happy Thanksgiving, right? Do your verbiage, whatever is it that you need to do. You do not ask for a job. Make sure that you guys genuinely build relationship with people, and that's how they're going to remember you, okay? And then there's also Christmas that's coming up. Just ask them, what kind of plans would they have for their family or whatever that's going on. If you know the hiring manager's LinkedIn profile or the recruiter people that you come across with your dream company, I would do a little research on them before reaching out to them, right? You can tell by the type of post that your network posts on LinkedIn, and I would follow them or make a comment on them. People will remember you when you show up more than several times in their feed. Yes? Let me know if that makes sense. Marlon, having a loop next Thursday. I hope I can raise the bar. Best of luck to you. Practice with them story. Shonda says, I am graduating with my bachelor this winter in MIS. Oh, MIS. I'm learning AWS via Amazon website and Twitch. Why don't you take the AWS practitioner if you're interested in AWS? Schedule my cloud practitioner exam. See, that's exactly where I'm going, my friend. When should I apply for AWS job? You apply to a job when you are ready, and you still need your stories, guy. It doesn't matter if you're a new graduate, you're senior, or you're executive. You never, ever wanted to apply to any job or take any interview when you got no story. Yes? Who's with me? Who is with me? Say story. Show me story at the very bottom, okay? Is Amazon letting people go? I didn't hear anything about Amazon letting people go. If you're a low performer, then sure. But even so, that takes a while, right? Um, I don't know Amazon will lay people off, to be honest. It's never happened in the history of Amazon before. Because I think Amazon is the only company that just has so many different variety of projects to do. It's unlimited amount of work where they're able to sustain their employees. That's just me from insider. Rohan, thank you so much for, is that a bowl of noodle? Awesome, thank you. Nakar, thanks for the great content. Would I burn the bridge with Amazon if I leave after 6 months? I have a better offer from Google, even though it's an L4 versus L6 at Amazon. It's a UX role. Well, you're not going to burn the bridge because you have the freedom to leave. You're not obligated to stay with any employer at all. Okay, but you gotta. It's at the end of the day, it's your own preference. Personally, I don't know if I would ever leave an L6 for an L4 because for you to get promoted in a one giant company to another giant company, if Google's going to make you an offer, it's got to be level to level. So if Google's doing that, I would say L5. I believe the L5 at Google is relevant to an L6 on Amazon. Okay? So I wouldn't just take a level down just for more money. So I would do that. If you really want to, I would fight for this role at Google. Rohan says, once you fill an interview at FANG company, how long do you need to wait before interviewing again? Well, that depends on your feedback. I've been on site with Amazon a couple of days, feel underprepared and stressed. Of course you're stressed because you're underprepared, my friend. It was a surprise for me that I even passed a phone screen. Why are you surprised? Your resume must be pretty good for the Amazon folks to interview you, okay? Confident, guys and gals, confident. The more you practice, the more you show up better, okay? Abigail says, you should be crowned tech coach of the universe. I will compare the TAM role to the sales engineer role at Google. Abigail, the reason why I have so much knowledge is I personally have hired for the TAM role. At the TAM and the TPM is very similar. If you don't meet the TPM bar, you will be ignite. I don't even know if that vocabulary makes sense with the TAM role. That means that you have the knowledge foundation for the infrastructure, but you don't need to go in depth. So a sales engineer is the same thing. The TAM and the sales engineer, a huge another common denominator is client relationship and client management. Okay? And also the technical part and the engineer part, you guys figure it out. That's the technical experiences and exposure you have. I mean, if you are a sales engineer or TAM, there's just so many roles out there for you. Okay? Let me know how that goes. You too, Alusaf. Picking on someone new, okay? Spreading the love. I'm spreading love to other folks, all right? By the way, if you guys have not connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have questions for me, more questions for me, I will eventually answer them. But please do be patient on LinkedIn because it does take me some time to get back to everybody, okay? Alrighty. Rachika says, is there a top list of 2025 questions that we need to prepare for? Yes, I'm so glad you asked. And that playlist is called Amazon Leadership Principle Questions and Expectation. In there, every single one of those LP, I give you a couple questions, direct questions. Also, the second highly recommended playlist is Amazon. Are you ready? Leadership Principle, Question, and Examples. Okay? I want you first to learn the expectation, what that is all about, and then you move on to writing your story, which I have 8 different templates example to walk you through. Great question. All right, next. Christian says, I love your video. I'm interviewing for an early career position at AWS. I told you AWS is hiring, did I not? I'm answering questions I found online and every story that I have. Is this a bad way of preparing? What do you mean by I'm answering questions I found online with every story that I have? What do you mean with every story that you have? You talk about every same story that you have or different story that you have. You want to create different story for every single question, okay? Asha says, can you ask technical question in loop during customer solution manager role? Of course they can. Okay, customer solution manager. Well, the only if you are non-tech interviewing at companies such as Google and Amazon, the one thing those two employers have in common, you need to have the knowledge foundation. Let me explain. If you're interviewing at AWS, you better know what cloud is, right? You don't need to go migrate cloud, hybrid or manual cloud to like, EP3 or anything like that. But you need to know what is cloud infrastructure. That's what I mean by if you're really interested to land a job at AWS, I would highly recommend you guys to take the AWS practitioner because that shows the employer that you are doing your best to learn the technical knowledge. Okay? Also, a lot of the stuff, it's on YouTube. You can learn for free. You don't have to pay anyone for it. And the people who's teaching you, they're Amazonians. If you're going to learn anything from anyone, make sure they came from Amazon. Okay? Shawnee, I have an on-site loop Friday scheduled today. Received a call from my recruiter yesterday saying that the pot was closed due to them hiring enough candidate. That is okay. That means that you are in the status of on-site pending. As soon as they have open headcount, you'll be re-engaged again. You don't have to do the whole phone screen again. You will go straight to on-site. Okay? Generally, that stays there in the system forever. So I wouldn't, but I would stay in touch with the hiring team. Thank you, Abigail. He loves Abigail says, I did stay in touch, and he loves Queen Elizabeth. Oh, yes, story. Chanda says story. Abigail says story. I hope the rest of you say story. Okay, don't be so busy applying for job when you guys got no story. It makes no sense to me. Um, and please do not spam the community by retyping your answer. Okay. I'm gonna take the last question I'm seeing here from Adam. Okay, Adam says, I'm in the middle of my loop for L5 role at AWS, had system design and coding interview yesterday, and have my final one this evening. Any idea what to expect? I have no idea of what to expect. It's all about what do you think, how you did during the interview, okay? They've been super useful so far. Excellent. I'm glad. You should be hearing back from the recruiter in less than 5 days after the on-site. If not, don't be afraid to follow up, okay? Well, you're welcome, Shawnee. JMM, Divya, Ratika, Blue, Alusov, Abigail, Tonoro, Rohan, Nakar, Chanda, Marlin, Jackson, Rick, Gurendar. Did I miss anyone? Lizette? Picasso, I like calling you Picasso. Surya, Divya, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me today. I will see you next Tuesday, same time and different Tuesdays. See you soon. Take care.